Detective Elena Rios wasn't the type to believe in coincidences. When her partner, Marcus Vale, died in a supposed car crash 3 nights ago, the grief hit her, but the suspicion hit harder. Now, sitting at her desk in the precinct with her, black coffee cold and untouched, she stared at the folder marked accidental death. A knock on her office door pulled her from her thoughts. "Come in," she said. It was Captain Dean, mid-40s, sharp jawline, wore suits like he owned Wall Street. He stepped in like he owned the precinct too. "Elena," he said, voice low. "You've been promoted? Detective first grade, effective immediately." Her fingers stiffened around the folder. "Because of Marcus?" She asked quietly. "He was senior," Dean said, not blinking. "You're next in line. You deserve it." She didn't answer. She just nodded because she'd been trained to take wins like they were earned even when they tasted wrong. When he left, she opened the folder again and reviewed the crash report. Lost control, wet road, guide on impact. It sounded clean. Too clean. But Marcus was one of the best drivers on the force. And just 2 weeks before he died, he had whispered something over a late-night bourbon. "If anything happens to me, don't believe the report. Start with the ninth floor records." She thought he was being dramatic. Now she wasn't so sure. By noon, she was in the basement archive, picking through personnel records from the ninth floor, the internal affairs unit. That's when she found it. A document Marcus had logged under a fake case file. A paper trail leading to unmarked cash drops, millions tied to the city's elite. Names she didn't expect. One of them made her skin crawl, Captain Dean, and then came a whisper behind her. "You're not supposed to be down here." Elena, she turned fast gun drawn, thought it was Jules Bennett, Dean's executive assistant, in high heels and red lipstick that didn't belong anywhere near police paperwork. She didn't look scared, if anything. She looked amused. "I'm just doing some digging," Elena said coolly. "I know," Jules replied, walking closer, heels echoing. "But you should know something, too." "What?" Jules leaned in, closed, the scent of perfume and danger clouding the space between them. "Marcus didn't crash. He was silenced. And if you're not careful, you'll be next." She smiled as if they were gossiping over martinis, not murder, then walked out like nothing had happened. Elena's heart thundered. Her instincts screamed louder than ever now. And still, part of her wondered, why was Jules helping her? And why did her touch linger just a little too long on Elena's hand? Elena didn't go home that night. Instead, she found herself in a dimly lit bar tucked between a pawn shop and a tattoo parlor, Marcus's favorite haunt. The bartender, a woman with a pixie cut and faded tattoos on her forearms, poured Elena a glass without asking. "He used to sit right there," the bartender said softly, nodding to a stool at the far end. "Didn't say much but tipped well." Elena sipped her whiskey, letting the burn center her. The folder she'd found earlier weighed heavy in her bag. Too many names, too many trails. Marcus had been hunting a syndicate rooted deep inside the city's bones. And it had cost him everything. She glanced at the stool, then froze. Tape underneath, barely visible from her angle, was a small flash drive. With her heart pounding, she pretended to drop her phone and reached for it discreetly. The bartender smiled knowingly. "Marcus left you something?" She asked. "Why would you say that?" Elena said cautiously. "Because," the bartender said, leaning closer, "he told me you'd come. Said you'd understand when the city started smelling like blood." Back in her apartment, she locked the door, turned off the lights, and loaded the flash drive. It held only one thing, a video. Marcus. He looked tired, pale, sitting in a car. "If you're seeing this, I'm dead." They're inside the department. Dean's in bed with more than just money. There's a file physical, blackmail on every major official. Judges, captains, even the mayor. It's hidden at the edge of the club. Jules knows. Don't trust her. Don't trust anyone. Except maybe the screen cut to static. Except maybe who? She slammed her fist against the desk. Damn it. Marcus. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. You want to know the truth? Meet me tonight. Edge Club. Back entrance. Wear red. She debated ignoring it. Instead, she chose a fitted red blouse, low cut, bold, and completely out of character. But sometimes you had to play the part. The Edge wasn't just a nightclub, it was a playground for the city's elite. Neon lights, pulsing music, bodies pressed too close, and corruption hiding in designer suits. She slipped through the crowd, spotting Jules by the bar in a skin-tight black dress, drink in hand, looking like cyan and secrets in heels. I knew. You'd come, Jules said, sipping something amber. You clean up well, detective. I didn't come to flirt, Elena said, but you dressed like you did. Jules's eyes dropped, unapologetically bold. You said you had answers. I do, but not here. Jules led her through a hallway behind the club downstairs to a private room. Velvet chairs, a crystal decanter, and a locked silver briefcase. On the table, this, Jules said, laying a hand on it, is the file Marcus died for. The one that could bring down half the city. Why are you helping me? Elena asked. Voice low. Jules stepped closer, and the air between them crackled. Because I'm tired of serving men with power and no conscience. And maybe... Her fingers traced Elena's jaw, soft but dangerous. Maybe I like women who bite back. Before Elena could pull away or lean in, the door burst open. Two masked men, armed. Gunfire rang out. Jules screamed. Elena dove for cover. The briefcase tumbled open and photographs scattered. Across the floor, politicians, police, captains. One image froze Elena cold. Captain Dean, naked in bed beside a known crime lord. The last thing she saw before blacking out was a bullet grazing her shoulder, and Jules bleeding on the floor, reaching for Elena with trembling fingers. Pain came first, then the scent gunpowder, perfume, and blood. Elena blinked through the fog in her head. The gunshot wound on her shoulder burned like fire, but she was alive. Barely. Jules lay beside her, blood soaking into the red velvet carpet. But her eyes were open, narrowed with pain, yet alert. They missed the heart. Jules croaked. Lucky, Elena said, wincing as she pushed herself up. Her arms screamed in protest, but she needed to move. Needed to finish what Marcus started. The masked men were gone. They'd taken nothing. The blackmail photos were still scattered across the floor. Elena reached for the most important one, Dean with the crime lord, and shoved it into her jacket. Then she helped Jules sit upright, applying pressure to her. Sighed with a strip of torn fabric. I didn't think they'd find us that fast, Jules whispered. You knew they'd come? Elena asked, furious and confused. I knew once you opened that case, someone would follow the signal. What signal? That briefcase has a tracker, Jules muttered. Marcus said it was the only way to force the truth into the light. You open it, the sharks come swimming. You could have warned me. I didn't want you to back out, Jules said, eyes glinting with something between guilt and admiration. They both fell quiet, breathing, bleeding, and then Jules leaned in. Her lips brushed Elena's, not desperate, but deliberate, not innocent. Either. A kiss in the dark with blood between them. I need you alive, Elena, she whispered. Not just for this case. For me. Elena didn't answer. She didn't need to. She pulled Jules to her feet, and they limped out of the club back alley, hidden exit. No witnesses. By the next morning, they were holed up in a cheap motel. Both bandaged, both haunted. Elena reviewed the blackmail photos again, and this time she noticed something new, a tattoo. On one of the men beside Dean, a specific crest. Serpent curled around a dagger. Her stomach turned. That symbol wasn't just criminal, it was cartel. And worse, it was the same tattoo Marcus had shown her months ago, warning her to stay away. They're not just dirty, she said aloud. They're tied to the Soria cartel. Jules nodded slowly. And they're protecting something. Or someone. Elena narrowed her eyes. We need to make this public. Jules hesitated. That'll get us killed. Elena stood. That was going to happen anyway. She sent an encrypted message to a journalist she trusted. Attached the Dean photo. No names. Just a teaser. Then she made a call. Captain Dean, it's Detective Rios. I need to meet. I have information you'll want to see alone. A pause. Then Dean's voice, steady as ever. Where? Elena looked at Jules. Somewhere public. Somewhere loud. Somewhere he can't hide. She gave him the address of a downtown jazz lounge. No surveillance. Lots of noise and one exit dot as she ended the call. Jules grabbed her hand. This won't be just a meeting, she said. It's a trap. For both of you. Elena smirked, adrenaline already burning through her veins. Good. The jazz lounge pulsed with saxophones and soft candlelight. Waiters in black weaved between round tables, and no one paid attention to the woman sitting near the back, nursing a whiskey with her left hand while her right bandaged and bloodied rested. Near the grip of her concealed weapon, Elena wore black. Sharp blazer, sleek pants, dark red lips, no badge, no cuffs. Just fire in her eyes. Captain Dean arrived 15 minutes late. In a tailored suit and smug smile, like he wasn't meeting the woman who held his career and freedom between two. Fingers. Elena, he said, sliding into the seat across from her. You look confident. And you look like you haven't lost a wink of sleep, she replied coolly. He raised a brow. Should I have? She reached into her bag. His eyes flicked. Tension thickened, but all she pulled out was a manila envelope. Care to explain? She asked, sliding it across the table. Dean opened it slowly. Inside, the photo him, shirtless. Arms draped over a cartel member with that serpent dagger tattoo burned into his skin. Dean's face didn't flinch. You brought me here for a forgery? He said smoothly. That's not even me. Deepfake. Maybe. Then sue me, Elena said. But you and I both know it's real, so here's the deal. I give this to the press. Or you tell me who really killed Marcus. Dean stared at her, jaw tight. You think you're the first one to play hardball with me, detective? He leaned in. I buried people who knew a lot less than you. So I've heard. He leaned back, studied her dot, then he chuckled. You've got guts, Rios. I'll give you that. You remind me of Marcus right before he died. She didn't blink. That's not a compliment. Dean's smile faded. He was stupid. Stubborn. He found something he shouldn't have and decided to. Play hero. You saw what happened? I did, she said softly. That's why I'm not playing. I'm finishing it? He tapped his fingers against the table. What do you want? The list. The full file. Everyone in that blackmail ring. And if I say no? Elena leaned forward, voice like ice. Then I give this photo to every reporter, every judge, every official you haven't bought. And I don't stop until someone listens. Dean's lips curled. You're brave, but you're not smart. You don't know who you're dealing with. I do, she said. That's why I came armed. And then a new voice cut through the music. She's not alone. Jules. She stepped out from the shadows behind the table, a small pistol in her hand. Tight dress, smoky eyes, steady aim. Dean stiffened. You brought your little toy, he sneered. Jules smirked. Toys are fun. But tonight I'm the one pulling strings. Elena stood slowly. I want the file, she said. And in exchange you walk away. Resign. No arrest. No trial. Just ... vanish. Dean's face darkened. If I give you that list, I'm dead. Not if you disappear before the cartel finds out you gave it up. Jewel added. There's a window. One-time offer. Silence. Dean's fingers trembled on the edge of the envelope. Then he nodded. I'll send it to your burner by midnight. You won't see me again. And he stood, adjusted his tie, and walked out like a man sentenced by wolves. Jewel exhaled, lowering her gun. You think he'll run? She asked. I think he'll try, Elena replied. They stepped into the alley outside, the hum of jazz. Behind them, Jules brushed Elena's hair back gently, fingers lingering near her jaw. You just threatened a dirty captain with a kill file and a lipstick smile, she whispered. That was ... hot. Elena laughed, finally. I thought you liked women who bite. Jules leaned in close. Only when they bite me first. Their lips met again, this time slower. Deeper, a kiss shared not just in heat, but survival. They pulled apart as Elena's burner phone buzzed. Message received. The file was in, and the names inside would burn the entire city down. Elena stared at the file glowing on her screen. The decrypted document was over 100 pages long. Every name on it carried weight judges, commissioners, senators, media moguls, and all of them were linked to bribes, trafficking, or hush money. The Soria cartel's grip on the city ran deeper than she'd imagined. Jules read over her shoulder, lips parted. This isn't just corruption, she said. This is a shadow government. And Marcus died trying to tear it down. Elena whispered. She scrolled to the final entry, and her chest tightened. Her own name, Elena Rios, next to it. Promotion secured. Tagged as leverage. Use if she turns. She felt cold. Used. I wasn't dirty, she said aloud, heart pounding. I know, Jules replied. But they were ready to drag you through the mud if you started asking questions. Which meant they were watching her even before Marcus died. The morning came hard and fast. Elena made a decision. She dressed in a navy suit, no badge, no weapon, just the truth. And a backup plan. They drove to a trusted journalist, a woman named Naira Chang. Brave, independent, and willing to die for a headline. Elena handed her the file with shaking fingers. Naira read just a few lines before her eyes widened. This ... This will collapse half the city. I know, Elena said. Do it fast. Do it loud. Don't give them time to cover it up. Naira nodded. You're going to need to disappear after this. I already have, Elena said softly. That night, the news exploded. Exclusive. Soria cartel ties to city government. Exposed leaked documents name. Over 200 officials, names, photos, scandals, audio files, videos. It all went viral within hours. Resignation started before sunrise. Protests flooded the streets. Every law enforcement office in the city was under review. The mayor vanished, and Captain Dean, his car was found abandoned at a border checkpoint, bullet holes in the windshield. Nobody gone. Elena didn't feel safe. But she felt something better clean. She watched it all from a safe house by the sea, hidden under a false identity. Jules was there too, barefoot, wine in hand, laughter curling off her lips. You know, Jules said, settling beside her on the couch. You could have taken the promotion and played dumb. I'd rather live free than on a leash. Jules traced a finger along Elena's arm, soft and slow. So, now what? Elena turned to her, eyes softer than they'd been in years. Now we disappear, and maybe start over. Jules leaned in with a smile that spoke of danger and devotion. Only if you promise to never stop being the boldest damn woman I've ever met. Elena pulled her close. No promises, she whispered, but I will never be silent again. They kissed deep, hungry, and full of fire, and as the city burned with truth, two women walked away from its ashes, alive, unbroken, and unafraid. The end,